Okay, we are going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, September 24th, 2024, the birthday of Western Commissioner Harry Otto. But we will do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's 1 year wiser. Okay. Do we have any minutes, reports received and filed?
No, we do not.
Okay. Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Let's see, there's everything. I've got a ILRC ramp applications review and then end of the month, so it's kind of a slow week on meetings, thank goodness. Got Saturday, Jefferson City Oktoberfest, Old Munichburg. I think there's a lot of events going on with that. And then Knights of Columbus barbecue in Wardsville from 11 to 5. I think that's about it.
Tomorrow, Wednesday, St. Mary's has a ribbon cutting for the rehab sports medicine, which is now located on campus there. I have a Mid-Mo Regional Planning Commission meeting in Ashland Thursday, Lower Missouri River Flood Risk Studies meeting at DNR Green Building, and Friday, Juvenile Advisory Committee meeting.
Okay. Today, I have a meeting with Governor Parson and the Battleship USS Missouri. Tomorrow, I have a Sons of the Union Veterans meeting, and I also have the St. Mary's ribbon cutting. Thursday, I have a task force meeting at City Hall, and then after that, another Sons of the Union Veterans meeting. Friday is Brian Ridenauer's birthday, is what I've got.
Probably from the record, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a county holiday, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, well, whatever, he can,
All the computers are shut down.
I have Saturday is Oktoberfest. Monday, we have a MCP meeting at the police department. And then that evening, we have a TIF training session at 6 p.m., which I will send you and Eric an invite to, because I received it. So they're gonna teach us how to behave, I guess, or I don't know what, but, and that is all I have. Do we have any commission comments? Okay, bids and contracts, approval and signing of CPI sole source.
This is just the approval and signing of the sole source with CPI telephones. It's for our phone system. It's already ran in the paper.
Then I also have it's called a PCR document. Basically what it does is it gives CPI the permission to get the number of licenses that we're currently managing and things like that. So that's something that they were gonna email you. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Yeah, I have a DocuSign there.
Okay, but I've got the hard copy too,
Oh,
in case
okay.
you wanna sign it, so,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you, sir.
Mhm.
You got the sole source thing to sign?
Yep. Um, this-
Make a motion to approve and sign the CPI sole source.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of license agreement with Google Fiber for installation of network facilities in Cole County right of way.
So this needs to be tabled. However, I'll give you a quick summary of what we got. So Google Fiber, they're installing their fiber optic cable for high-speed internet across Jefferson City and then out into some of the unincorporated parts of Cole County surrounded town. And they asked to enter into a license agreement with us, and I'm not aware of any that we currently have with other utilities. This agreement has protections for both the county and Google, and it includes a requirement that they carry a $5,000 performance bond, something that we used to require going back 20 years or more ago. Got out of the habit of doing that, but we're gonna get back into doing that for utilities that are installed in our right of way. And so likely use this license agreement as an example to start setting these up on others in the future. So, some of the comments that Jill and I had for them have to go back through their review and their process, so it's gonna take another couple weeks maybe before it's ready. But, want to
Okay.
give you a quick explanation, but it does need to be tabled.
So will that agreement give us some more teeth when they don't take care of filling people's ditches in their yards and stuff like that up? Because that's basically the only problem we really had out in the Wardsville, Taos area with Calabite. And they actually responded pretty well, but if they didn't, then we would have had a performance bond or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what would help us with some of these that are not responsive on issues like that, so yes.
Okay, that'd be nice to have.
Yep.
Okay. Approval of supplemental agreements with Cole County Small Communities for extension of cooperative projects.
So back in August of '22, we entered into agreements with 6 of the 7 small communities for the cooperative project grants that we had distributed funding to the communities for. And 2 of the projects, St. Martin's and Loman are under construction right now, or are getting close to being complete. So no need to do an extension agreement with them, but the other 4 for various reasons, and I'll explain it really quickly. So Wardsville, they had received a MoDOT TAP grant to add to their project, and that caused some delays there. And then they could not secure the match funding to add to that, and so they had to give that grant back. And so with those delays, now they're slow in getting started on their project. So that would be a reason for extending theirs. And these are all an extension of 1 year, and it's from 1 year of the signed agreement or supplemental agreement, they would have to have a contract award for construction. Russellville and Jan Wyatt's here. They did receive a MoDOT TAP grant to add to their project. They've been working through that. They've had some delays in acquiring necessary right-of-way and easements to complete the project, and then working through the TAP. MoDOT reviews take some time as well, so they're getting close, but would need to add 1 year to that as well. St. Thomas, they were approved for widening or a sidewalk extension project and were unable to secure right-of-way, so they asked to change their project to widening in multiple locations. And those delays also caused them some issues in getting things ready. They are close to having the project out for bid, but they'll need extra time. And then Centertown, they tried twice to get a MoDOT TAP grant and were unsuccessful, and with all those delays, that put them behind as well. So all 4 communities are requesting that we extend the grant, the agreement by 1 year. We did take this to our Road and Bridge Advisory Board, and on September 4th at their meeting, they recommended to approve these agreements. So just asking if the county commission approve the supplemental agreements with those 4 communities mentioned: Wardsville, Russellville, St. Thomas, and Centertown. And this will extend their grant period for 1 year.
I'm good with it. Are they gonna need any more than 1 year, or is this just gonna be, we'll deal with it if they need more later on?
If we have to, but I've talked to them and we'll be pretty adamant that they get rolling on these. And I don't really foresee any problems. I think just expecting some other additional funding to come through. Some did, you know, some of these projects just take long, and especially when you have trouble acquiring right away, they don't get delayed. So we want to be workable with them, and the main issue is just getting the money out for them to use in their community. So I don't expect any real delays beyond the 1 year. I think we'll be fine.
And it's on this half-cent sales tax cycle, which actually goes until the end of '26, so they're still well within the tax cycle.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, we're still good.
I'll make the motion to approve the supplemental agreements with, under Cole County Small Communities with Wardsville, Russellville, St. Thomas, and Centertown to extend that 1 year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Nurse practitioner MOU with Jefferson City.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We would like to enter into an agreement with the City of Jefferson for their staff to be able to access
our quick care nurse practitioner services. We'll charge their employees the same as the fees that we have set up for our county staff. Any questions? No? Okay. And then, Dawn, there's 2 originals here. The city would like 1 original back.
You can give it to me, Dawn, and I'll get it to them.
Okay.
Good. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the nurse practitioner MOU with Jefferson City.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval and signing of contract addendum for Farbus Mazars.
Formerly BKD
Yes,
too.
I know.
The original contract was BKD, they changed names a couple times. Same people that we're dealing with. Originally, we signed this agreement when we received the CARES money. So that agreement was signed back in '21 with the standard rate of 210. They are wanting to increase their rate to different rates per different tiers of people that we use for helping us with the ARPA money. The bottom rate is 225. They still are going to stay within their not to exceed, but they do want to change their hourly rate on their billing. And Jill did look it over, and I talked to Harry about it. So if you guys would approve this contract addendum, again, for the hourly rate, but will not change the overall scope of the not to exceed.
I'll make this motion in a second, Debbie. However, given that we plan to utilize the shortcut, let's call it that, for not for a better term, with respect to moving some of our regular expenses that we can under the ARPA umbrella, shouldn't their workload go down because they won't have to drill into these sub-recipients as much as before?
It will, as far as that project is concerned. I mean, we have different projects going on with them now. We're closing out several of them as we go. We just closed out Russellville's second project, so as all those projects close, it will be less and less. We'll still have the quarterly reporting we have to do to the federal government on that money, whether it changes or not, you know. But yes, I see it diminishing. I don't really think we'll get to the total of the not to exceed. But this does go to the end of '26, though, so 2026, as far as our opera requirements. So we have a few more years to go, as far as that goes.
Other than our use as a county of ARPA money, the biggest single one still hanging out there is Lincoln University.
Yes.
And we're about to,
It sounds like we met with them last week, and they have their project underway, and I sent out the opening of their, our ground digging that they're gonna have, or breaking ground, whatever that is. And that will be the biggest, but they have also a state ARPA money, so they're gonna send me all the same documentation that they're using for the state portal. So, and we're handling that internally. We're not using BKD because they have a conflict there.
because they're doing the state as well.
That's right.
That's their conflict.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough, okay.
Yeah,
And we still have the soccer complex too.
yes,
And that one's, things are moving. It's gonna be a tight schedule too, but I think they're pretty confident that everything's,
yes, they're pretty confident, and they got the tip through, and so now they're hoping to have the utilities, and that's gonna be part of our contract, bid by the mid-October is what I was told.
so. I think my only question was it gonna still be within the actual budgeted amount? And you already answered that, so I was curious because they were loading it up on the different tiers. So, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign the contract addendum for Farbus Mazars.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna table the approval and signing of the Bolts agreement until October 1st. New business, accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending your review.
I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Discussion of landscaping at 319 Adams.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As we near the end of our project, we're turning to some of the outside cosmetic finishes for the building. And currently in the scope, there will be no bare ground left on the project site. It will either be seed and straw or rock or some sort of basic landscaping that we're still trying to work to understand with GBH. With that in mind, I met with Eric at the job site to kind of discuss there was opportunities to do a little bit more landscaping. We don't necessarily want to leave it, an eyesore in and around the building. And in talking about that, we identified probably the place that needs a little extra is probably the McCarty Street side, since it does face, it is the public facing side of the building. And in doing so, we also noticed that anything that we do to our side of the street would also clash with the law enforcement center. Currently, on the McCarty Street side, it's just a strip of grass that, at various points, depending on the amount of water, is various shades of green. So that prompted the conversation that we wanted to come up here today and just figure out what direction we want to go with that. And if so, it probably warrants a conversation about sprucing up both sides of the street. And I don't know if that was...
We're good. And the only reason I say that is that for us, it's just more, the building's so big as it is, that's just more for maintenance to have to deal with. It's more for them to deal with. We're fine with the way ours is right now. I don't want to spend the money.
Would you be able to have zero grass at your place? 319?
If we wanted to go that way, I'm not sure that was built into the scope. I think this is a basic conversation. I understand the sheriff doesn't want to spend money. I don't think that was the goal of this. I think that maybe there are other pockets of money that may be available for this type of work. And I think that was the basis of this conversation is where do we want to go, what direction, and how involved do we want this to be? I don't know if you have anything else to...
I'll just add, so in the parks budget, we do have a line item for county facility landscaping. I don't know the exact dollar amount, it's not a bunch, but it is there for some maintenance work, some general replacement of some landscaping features, mulching, and then as far as like the health department goes, we did fund the things we did out there with that line item too. So there's a little bit of money there to do some general, sprucing things up and then upkeep.
Would we require a sprinkler system then? I mean, it's wonderful to have flowers, plants, bushes, whatever, but,
my goal would be to do something that is tasteful and as low maintenance as possible. So if we could limit the amount of grass with decorative rock and some other landscaping features, that is maybe what I have more in mind than putting grass all the way around the building. But again, we don't know what the initial scope was from the contractor, other than they were not to leave bare dirt. So that's anywhere from seed and straw to rock and some barrier. But again, if we want to do something more than that, it's probably in our best interest to start having that conversation.
I like rock.
Rock is not probably conducive for our facility. That's part of the issue, because believe it or not, when people leave our facility, they're not always the happiest. And having rocks available is probably not a good idea for us. However, I will bring up that I do like your signage on the side of the building, and I would like to have that on mine, but 1 foot bigger, because it is.
It really does look nice.
That looks really good.
It looks really good.
Okay, so, Mr. Landwehr, since we got so many Erics in here, When we did the parks, didn't they have some chopped up tires and stuff that they used for some of the mulch? Was that a grant through Solid Waste Management District, do you know, or is that something we could look at? I'm for no maintenance is what I'm for. I mean, I'll give you 2 trees and some rubber tire mulch.
So we do have some of that, and when we did the park out at Brooks Park, the grant covered the rubber tire mulch. I wouldn't recommend putting that in. It looks okay from a long distance, but up close, it's not that great. And it weathers and it ends up everywhere. Rock's probably the better option, I know.
And it burns.
It does, yeah. Not that they'd be setting fires there, but yeah. it
No,
does.
no, not at all.
Okay, so very small rocks is what I'm hearing.
I-
Very small. Pebbles. Pebbles.
You know, that's certainly an option.
Okay, well, Eric blew mine, or Mr. Landwehr blew mine out of the water. That's a lot.
Sorry, I tried to do it nicely.
You did do it nicely, I'll give you that. Okay, so I just think the load and no maintenance is the way to go, and if that wasn't part of the scope of the project, we need to figure out where it's
Yeah.
coming from.
I think that's, I'll know more on Thursday as to what the landscaping specs called for. All they could tell me last week was that there was no bare dirt left, so that they were to seed and straw or do some sort of basic landscaping. But if we wanted to take it a step further with a couple trees and some shrubs, I think that was probably something that we'd have to do in-house and start thinking about doing so.
So I'm looking at the aerial photo. Is there still gonna be that strip between the law enforcement center, well, I guess Adams Street and
So.
the building, or is that gonna be?
So there's roughly a 10-foot strip on the McCarty Street side that runs the entire length of the property between the sidewalk and the building. And then there are 2 separate spots on the Adams Street side that are also about 10 foot in length that run the length of the building minus the approach pad where it cuts through there. So there's a couple different spots. There is nothing on the side of the parking lot, and then the retaining wall goes up to the property line on the east side of the building. So it's just really those 3 areas that we need to do something.
Is that gonna look okay if it's all mulch and a couple trees?
I would default back to somebody who is more qualified at that than I am.
Maybe, okay.
Well, if we need trees, the Cole County 250th Committee, we're gonna be planting some liberty trees in communities like Wards. Each community will get a liberty tree, but we could actually put 2 liberty trees right down there and there wouldn't be any cost to us.
You said you got a meeting to discuss,
Yeah.
okay, so.
I'll have a better idea of what that scope is, and we can talk about it more again next week once we have that kind of understood. But we just wanted to put that on your radar this week.
Okay, I mean, if it needs to be seeded and strawed and we have a little strip of grass to cut it, so be it, but I mean, if there's something that you wanna do a little nicer that's no maintenance and may save some money in the long run, then we can look at that,
Okay.
so.
So just real quick, doesn't sound like there's a huge appetite to do a full blown. Knowing that, I'd probably just put it in grass right now. And then we can gradually implement a few things over time, unless you had some money to put a few trees, or as Sam said, maybe there's some money through the 200th.
$250,
50th,
yeah,
yeah.
we could do that. We can,
And then we can get a very minimal design, just to kind of, you can do too much landscaping and it looks awkward. If we can do just minimal to kind of make it blend well, that might be the best option.
Well, let me get a better idea this week, and I'll circle back with you.
Koi pond,
Hmm?
koi pond.
Save that for your side.
Then you gotta take care of it. And we can phase it in over a couple of years if we have to, like we did the health department.
Okay. Well, thank you.
thank you.
I got so many comments for that. That's gonna involve cats though.
Approval and signing of change order number 1, Rainbow Drive sidewalk improvements.
So my boss might have made you mad, Jeff, but I'm gonna.
No, he didn't. He was nice about it.
So this is the final change order for closeout documents for Rainbow Drive sidewalk improvements. Primary reason for additional cost was an increase in the amount of half-inch expansion joint. Primary reason for less work needed was a lesser amount of 4-inch concrete sidewalk and 6-inch concrete sidewalk. Overall, this change order is a decrease, Jeff, decrease,
I read that already.
of $1,843.80.
Then who was the contractor on that?
TB Dozing and Excavating.
Okay. Oh, there it is, from the bottom of the change order. Very good. I'll let Harry have the honors, that's on his side,
Okay.
And
I'll
it's
take the
money.
decreases, you take the increases.
unfortunately.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign change order number 1, Rainbow Drive sidewalk improvements.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need to approve final closeout on that too, or is that just the change order is gonna take care of everything, or?
The change order, zero out all the quantities for me, and then I just handle all the closeout documents as they
Okay.
come in, so.
Very good.
Approval and signing of change order number 1 for 2024 chip seal program.
Again, this change order is for final closeout documents for the 2024 chip seal program. The primary reason for less work needed is a lesser amount of type 2 chip seal, traffic control mobilization due to removing one of the roads on the list. This is with Missouri Petroleum Products, and this change order is also a decrease, Jeff, of $14,154.44.
There you go. All right, I'll do this one then. It's kind of an overall one, right?
Okay.
Both get a little bit of a decrease there.
You can put it on your campaign material that you made a motion to save the county money. How's that?
There we go. I'll make a motion to approve and sign change order number 1 for the Missouri Petroleum Products chip seal program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Matthew.
Okay. Do we want ambulance maintenance, do we want to do that?
I think it's valid to talk about it.
Okay. Ambulance maintenance.
All right. I'm gonna rely on Jill to guide us out of hot water here, if we venture too far off track. So, I wanted to bring this to your attention because I believe that it bears, talking about in an open forum so that everybody's aware of, the challenges that we're facing. So this story starts back in June of this year with our one of our newest ambulances that experienced sudden electrical problems while responding to a call. As you know, the county has a standardized maintenance agreement with Alan Braun and his service shop, where we take all of our vehicles for its initial diagnostic. He diagnosed the ambulance as having a faulty ECM or control module. However, since that is one of our newest ambulances, that ambulance was still under warranty. Bronze is not authorized by Ford to perform warranty work on their ambulances. So that ambulance was transported to Mawkins Ford in Jeff City. Upon arriving there, that ambulance sat for roughly 3 weeks without any service. When they finally did diagnose it, they informed us that they were unable to recreate the problem, and they sent the ambulance back to us. That was around the first week in July. The crew immediately put it back into service. They went to answer their first call for service, and as they were responding, the ambulance completely went dead on them with no electrical power. That ambulance was taken back to Mawkins, where it sat for an additional several weeks before it received service. They eventually diagnosed it with 2 bad batteries and a bad alternator, which they replaced. It returned to service. It worked for a couple weeks and then experienced yet again the same problems. That ambulance was then taken back to Mawkins Ford, where it sat for 3 weeks without any sort of service, until they ultimately concluded last week after engagement and prodding from myself and our elected officials, they determined that all along it was a bad ECM, which is a $159 part, and they have ordered that and are working on replacing it. The unfortunate piece is that ambulance has been out of service for roughly 90 of the last 120 days, with the majority of that being spent sitting on the lot at Mawkins Ford without any intervention being done to it. The concern that I have, and that I believe that you all share, is that this is a frontline emergency apparatus, and the inability to have that in service jeopardizes our ability to provide public safety services to the citizens. We've expressed this to Ford, which has been met with varying responses, most of it shifting back to the ambulance manufacturer. I will say that in this latest diagnostic, the ambulance electronics were completely disconnected from the chassis, which is a Ford standardized chassis, and the problem was recreated, basically assuring us that this was not an Osage Industries manufacturing problem. I have gone through various means to try and rectify this, including both the GM of Ford Mawkins here in Jeff City, as well as Ford Mawkins in Columbia, where I was hung up on mid-conversation yesterday afternoon. So, I bring this to your attention. I'm not entirely sure how to pursue this in the future. This is not an isolated thing with just this ambulance. This is the level of service that we are continuously receiving when we take an ambulance for warranty work. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances, we don't have other options to pursue to get that warranty work completed. But I want to put this on your radar because I do believe that it will continue, and we may have to take escalating action moving forward. So I have also had conversations about switching our chassis manufacturers. We looked at Chevy, and unfortunately the Chevy 5500 chassis is astronomically large and probably prohibitive. We've also looked at switching to a Ram chassis. Unfortunately, the lead times and availability of those chassis makes it prohibitive to make that switch. So for the first time, we don't have a lot of options there. And I was about to say, I've worked many places over my career and almost exclusively out of Ford chassis. And this is the first time that I've ran into a service dealership that is not willing to prioritize emergency vehicles when they are broken. So that's kind of what I have to deliver, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
That unit is out of service today as we
Correct.
speak?
Yes.
Parts should be in today or tomorrow.
Yes.
I talked to their general manager before when it was there. I talked to him again, and anyway, I didn't get too much satisfaction. I talked to Osage Ambulance, and Dan Keogh came, unhooked everything they had hooked up. He drove the ambulance all the way to Osage Beach
Yes.
and back, and as he was coming back, it lost all that. So I think that's how we discovered actually what the problem is. So I want to thank Osage Ambulance for stepping up too. So I don't know what the answer is.
Your fraternity of folks that do what you do, are any of them experiencing this?
So I think the conversation goes back, and this was made abundantly clear to me yesterday by the folks that I was talking to, is that each dealership is independent of Ford Motor Company in and of itself. So while yes, there are problems with the chassis, and there are problems with every vehicle, we do not believe that this is something that is isolated to the product that we are receiving from Ford. I think it's normal parts and issues that you run into. The issue that we struggle with is the responsiveness and service that we're receiving from our local dealerships. There is an option. These chassis are actually purchased from a dealership in Olathe, Kansas. The problem that we run into is that when the apparatus is non-drivable, it is an extremely expensive venture to get it to Olathe, Kansas to receive said warranty work. So I think this is mainly isolated due to the factors that are local here to us, and unfortunately, we're one of the main players that has to suffer through that.
There is a Ford dealer in California, Missouri.
Yeah, so one of
in
the
Fulton as well, but
one of the issues that we run into is that because the apparatus has so much weight on it, there is a certain weight limit on the lifts. So it's to our understanding that this may be one of the only lifts in the region that can accommodate a vehicle of that weight. So,
If you had, would you hazard to guess how many calls that vehicle has missed by being not in service during the 90 days?
I'd have to circle back to that to get some data, but we run roughly 20 or 1,200 calls a month department-wide. So of that, 1/7, so several hundred.
Okay.
And the other piece is that the initial diagnosis was correct, and that initial diagnosis was provided from our service technician to Ford Machins in early June.
So, best case scenario, this thing is working at the end of
Correct.
business today?
Yes. Hey, for this particular instance, we do believe that we have a solution. The part is on order, and it will be replaced.
let's pray to God.
Yes.
that- I'm beginning to think we maybe have a lemon and we just need to, but hopefully this will solve
Yes.
everything. Because our other ambulances, we've not had any issues with.
Yeah.
So it's just this
You know,
125 is, we're having issues with 125.
It's a continuous problem that we haven't been able to solve for several months. Other ambulances do have warranty work, so it's not unique to have this situation. It's just that this is an ongoing problem that we have yet to successfully solve.
Osage they sell country or countrywide, don't
Yes,
they?
yes.
They deliver all over.
Correct.
And so their deliveries of this same chassis in other places is not meeting with this. Do they have that problem? But if they do, they get it solved early?
Yes, I believe that, other agencies do not struggle with getting the warranty work done and completed in a timely fashion.
So that's the part I was hearing. It's not that we're having problems getting it diagnosed and fixed, it's getting it in a timely fashion.
Correct.
And so I think it's been addressed now. I think there were some phone calls and emails made, and so hopefully it's been taken care of now.
Again, I want to thank Dan Kehoe at OCP. I called after I had talked to the general manager at Machins, and within 15 minutes, he called and he was on his way to Jefferson City. So, I mean, that's quick. And he went out, he unhooked everything, they had hooked up to it. And then, he didn't just drive it around the block a couple times, he drove it to Osage Beach, which is, so,
I think the pertinent thing, and the reason why we want to have this conversation is to put it on your radar and prepare ourselves for any future instances where we may have to leverage all the resources again to get this taken care of.
But our only other option then would be to take it to Kansas.
That we
That's the
are,
only one that's got a lift that can handle it, that
yeah,
you know of.
we're trying to work through that. Osage Osage Industries is trying to be a good partner and help us with this warranty issue that is out of their control, but they
Well, I
are
was gonna
trying.
say, what I'm hearing is it has nothing to do with them.
Correct.
They've already proved that. They unhooked everything, and it is the chassis, it's the truck, and it should be taken care of. But we're not getting the service and response that we should be getting.
Correct.
So I just think we need to have a backup plan, because that one's been out for a long time. 124's, is it still out, or?
No, that is.
It's back now?
Yep, yeah, that's back. So.
Okay.
So I will keep you updated of any future issues, and we can address them at that time.
Hopefully, there's not any.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, approval and signing of change order number 1 for the annex ductwork.
If you're gonna save us money like Matthew did,
Public Works has got all kinds of money.
well, because they're saving us money each time they come up here, Greg.
Maintenance
Sorry.
maintenance is a nonprofit.
I knew where this
We're
was
we're an
going, so
expensive business.
it's not for profit, that's for sure.
We are not a profit agency. Sent you some pictures last week of the ductworks, and I'm sure you all love those lovely sights of them. Brief history, any unit that has an outside air makeup on it, when the system failed in '09, those actuators went to full open. So since '09 to now, they've been bringing in a 100% outside air, and creating our problems in our ductwork. With this situation here, this will resolve the problems with the ductwork, the mold issue that's in them. They're gonna clean everything, put new ductwork back in, put the insulation on the outside so we can clean the ductwork later if it gets to that point, which I don't see it getting to that point. Because the old days, the insulation on the inside would just trap the dirt and the mold, the water, everything else. So my recommendation is for this change order for 111, 124, and that's up to you guys. I'd like to keep, we've got 5 units downstairs taken apart. We got 4 more downstairs to take, and then we can start up here on the 2nd floor. This does not include the 4 air handlers back here in this mechanical room. We didn't want to start taking anything else apart until we got this resolved first. Hopefully those units back here are gonna be okay, but we don't know yet.
This is the original ductwork from the City National
Correct.
days, right?
Correct.
Except for the 3rd floor.
Except for the 3rd floor
Yeah.
mezzanine, correct.
So you said it's all the units except for,
The 4 air handlers back here in this back room, we have not taken anything apart. I didn't want to take anything apart until we got into it.
there's ductwork goes to these storage rooms too down below?
Yes.
Does it include them, or is that part?
No, everything downstairs is taken care of. It's just, these 4 units take care of, 1 unit take care of this hallway across the breezeway. Another unit does downstairs, the supply area. Another one does this floor, and another one does the 3rd floor.
And it's all the duct,
Yeah,
this floor, above us, below us.
that we have not got into yet. This ductwork is take off from the units in everybody's office, like Larry's office. There's like 20 foot of ductwork.
So that's the
in
floor
there.
below us,
That's,
includes that ductwork,
that's his office. There's
collectors, recorders,
collectors, recorders, all the ductwork.
okay, this floor,
And the upper floors.
commission, clerk's office, and then up above us, prosecutors and auditor's office.
Yes.
Is all in this price.
Is all in this price. And
Okay.
not the air handlers that are back here in the back room.
Okay, or the storage,
The storage
Down below.
storage downstairs is included in this.
it is included in.
Yes.
Okay, so. It is
There's
still,
like 36 units that we're looking at, with roughly about 20 foot of ductwork on each one.
okay. I mean, there was, I mean, that's a lot of duct work. You've got all the ceiling, grid work, you gotta take down, work around, clean up. It's a very high price. I did make a call this morning because I just was a little concerned about it. You know, 6 figures like that. It's hard to swallow that change order, but, in talking with the gentleman, he said it didn't sound like it was unrealistic without coming in and doing an actual visit and stuff, so it's a tough one to chew on, but we gotta get it done while we're tearing into this stuff, so.
We have many old buildings.
I'm just gonna hold my nose while we do this one, so.
Sorry.
How much money did you save us this morning, Matthew? Was that 111,000?
15,000.
Well, you better get to work on saving some more. We might need it.
You gotta
So,
bend that back in, huh?
Yeah, somebody's got to
Yeah,
bail me out.
I was asking you about this morning, Greg. It is. It's just a tough one to swallow, so.
Yes. And sheet metal keeps going up and everything. It's just, one of the magazines I read every month, they're talking about anywhere from a 10 to a 20% increase on mechanical equipment for next year. So it's not getting any better.
So this is coming out of capital, or did you think?
This project itself was coming out of the ARPA funding, so this kind of transfer you guys would have to, or change order. It would affect some of the other projects in ARPA if we wanted to do that, or otherwise we could somehow build this separately and take this part out of capital. Either way, I mean, I could make it work, but.
Will it be cleaner just to take it out of capital, and you don't have to do any more paperwork for the ARPA and transfer things around? I mean, it's coming from our money, whichever way.
Probably be easier if I keep it in ARPA, just because the auditors, the outside auditors will look for that whole project and look for that whole project to be paid out of one funding.
I'll defer to you on that. I'm not gonna interject when I don't know the territory, so if it's easier for you to just add it to the ARPA project, I'm okay with that.
And lessen the transfer back.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, what does that bring us to, a motion here?
If you're fine with it, I just need a motion and a signature on the bottom of this to approve it.
So I was gonna hold my nose while I do this. All
Okay,
right,
go ahead.
I'll make the motion. We signed the change order number 1 with United Mechanical Services for the ductwork at the price tag of $111,124.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sir,
This is all state contract too,
Yes, it is.
so I did forget that, but
Yes.
delinquent tax sales surplus funds.
you save us money?
Every day.
You collected money over there.
This is a request from Pamela Wren for the surplus from the sale of her father's property last year. Jerry P. Wren was his name, and she has she filed work with probate court, which was filed on September 13th, and I assume certified. I think Jill's reviewed the information, so I think this meets the criteria for being able to collect those surplus funds. So I need a motion from the commission to approve the release of those funds. I think the total is $27,164.77. That's on 2 parcels.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it if she's provided the paperwork.
Do you identify those parcels by address or parcel number?
By parcel number,
Okay. If you'd give me those parcel numbers, I'd read that into the motion, I think.
the first one is 1007260002 006 and the second one is 1007-216-0002 006-034.
Okay. So since you've read those numbers in, I'll make a motion to release and pay the overage from a tax sale surplus of $27,164.77 to
Pamela Wren.
Pamela Wren.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, do we have any
Yeah.
unfinished business?
So, I'm gonna go back to that. So are we gonna handle these on a case-by-case basis then? I know you had talked about asking, or, I don't know, when you were sending us the information, we kinda needed to give you some direction on how you wanna do these.
We're learning as we go, because this is a little unusual, I guess, to have these kind of overages.
Yeah, we
True.
haven't had any like this in
I don't,
Okay.
years.
I
So-
don't remember.
This case is now closed. We have another one that is percolating, but we've got a plan on having the applicant come up with the documentation needed in order to allow for the distribution to that applicant. It's related to other siblings in the family, so it gets a little complicated, but we've got a plan.
And you
But
will
I
have
think
to
it-
do each one as an individual
Yeah,
decision of the commission. These
each
will-
one is different, so
Yeah.
I don't think we can,
The issue now is that there are individuals out there that request the overages, the surpluses from every tax sale. And what they do is they go around contacting the prior owners and for a fee offering to get their surplus for them. Now, the prior owners don't actually have to use an agent or anything. They can come directly to the county and make that request as long as they can satisfactorily prove that they're entitled to those funds. So that's where we know on this next one coming up, we know that person was contacted by an outside party to get the money. So I think you're gonna see more of this. Our tax sale this year, we had the largest surplus we've ever had on the number of sales. We probably had 6 or 7 of them that had pretty sizable surpluses, so. I would say a year from now, we're gonna see a bunch more requests, so.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
thanks, sir.
You need something?
Okay, unfinished business.
Commissioner, we had intended to have something under closed session under real estate, and it's sort of unfinished from previous real estate under closed session, but we can talk about it in open session, and we should because of a timeliness factor. So I'd like to bring to the floor a discussion of a lease that we would like to execute with Cosimo Properties LLC, property located across the street from this building that would house our auditor and treasurer. A lease that would begin on October 1. That's if we didn't do it today, we'd sort of be just right on or under the wire next Tuesday. So I would, this lease has been furnished to us by the owner. Jill has looked at it and okayed it. You
Are
guys
we
have
able to
been,
get the IT stuff over there? Were we able to
we can talk about
verify
that
that?
right now.
That's,
That's part of the discussion.
So, so I was tasked with getting the offices up and running on data and on phones. And in order to do that, I would have to put in another one of our Metro E connection, which is our WAN, like what we have at each location. And so the estimate on that is $1,096 a month for the connection. And that would be in addition to what we already pay for our other connections. And then I can use all the existing equipment that they have, phones included and PCs, but I do need to put in some network equipment. And the estimate, I got a quote on that for $24,587.75 on contract through Huber and Associates. So in order for me to get the new office, the new location running as quickly as possible, then I need to get those things on order so I can make that happen.
What was the second dollar amount you mentioned?
So the second dollar amount is for the networking equipment that's gonna take to supply all the devices. And it's $24,587.75. And that's a one-time cost.
And the state's gonna send us a check for that, right?
And the only other thing too is, I've been told that it's go ahead and to get the copier coming for the treasurer's office, so that can be a shared device. And
That was sort of on the radar anyway.
that was
wasn't
on
it?
next year's budget, but I've been asked to push that up to this year. And that's roughly, I don't have that quote in front of me, but that was roughly $3,600. So,
Did they send us a fiscal note request on that? I know you try to go through them all, but, so that just goes through
It
and
went through Oscar.
they didn't worry to ask us how much another
Oversight.
office, parking, well, 3 more offices probably, because I'll have to have a marshal, a clerk, a judge. Now we gotta move people over, so into a whole nother building, so,
yeah, I did not factor in.
I mean,
like
isn't this
the-
an unfunded mandate that we're getting?
And it's a good point, because I did not factor in the costs of, any cost that's incurred in creating the office for
I mean,
the new judge, so.
we've got the judge, I'm just kicking and screaming right now and having my
I
little
hear
fit.
you. I hear you.
It's just, hopefully it clears up some cases in the courthouse and gets things moving along. But from what I understand, everybody blames it on everybody else, so it's not gonna change anything. It's just giving us more people, which that's what government needs, is more employees. That's the answer to everything, so. Okay, I'm done with my little fit.
Just so everybody does understand, we're moving these people because we have to provide an office for our newest judge. And we have no offices in the courthouse, so we're moving the treasurer, and his office will become the office of our new judge.
I know Harry has talked to me about moving the furniture out of the treasurer's office. No, he's talked about moving the furniture out of the office. If we move the furniture out, then we're gonna have to buy the judge new furniture too. So would it be better just? I
No,
know-
the state buys him his furniture. We could sell him the furniture up there and we can go buy new furniture so we don't have to move
I
it.
didn't know if the state did buy their furniture or not, so.
The way I understand it, that would be on the state to get the furniture, right?
Never had.
I know that
Unless
desk
they
is,
got other interest in-
I know that desk is not that old, because I think we put a new one in there.
Well, I don't wanna make the judge mad right away in case I get a ticket, speeding maybe, but a card table and some folding chairs. Jesus, it just keeps adding up. I mean, now we gotta buy him furniture too, and
You're talking about Eric Peters' desk. It's old.
I thought we replaced that not too long ago.
They got some other stuff up there, but not his
Oh,
desk.
okay.
there's nothing wrong with old, it's just antique, it's nice, people want that
Prestige.
stuff, man.
It's not worth our maintenance moving it. Put it down.
Yeah,
No.
Daddy daycare? I said daddy daycare.
Larry,
anyway, this is the best solution for right now is to rent office space across the street.
Okay.
It's in close proximity to us and to the courthouse.
We could add that because of the size of the suite that we will occupy across the street, which has been vacated by the library, by the way, that's where their administrative offices, I guess, have been for some time. Because of that, we can take this opportunity to move the auditor over there. There's room for him. That frees up some room for the prosecutor, who's been asking for more floor space for quite some time. So we do solve a little interior problem added to the problem imposed upon us by the state, having another judge here. So we've got about at least 4 things to talk about right now. One is the lease itself. Number 2 is the WAN, is that what you called it? The WAN?
Yes.
which is a monthly fee, the network equipment, which is a one-time fee.
One-time cost, yeah.
We have the copy machine, which is really almost immaterial because we were planning that anyway.
Yep.
And then we've got some furniture issues, okay. I'm gonna take it, try to check them off one at a time. I would make a motion to execute the lease agreement between the county and Cosmo Properties LLC for the premises of Suite 205 at 308 East High Street, Jefferson City, Missouri.
Second, and that was for a 2-year lease,
A
right?
2-year
Did you say
lease.
that? Okay, yep.
Yep, correct.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, then I would make a motion to proceed with the implementation of the WAN at a monthly cost of $1,096 per month
Correct.
and authorize Mr. Ridenour to proceed accordingly.
Second.
Oh, are you talking about, did you bring up the one-time purchase of the networking equipment?
I wanna do that
Oh,
next.
okay.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye. I'll make a motion to have our IT director proceed with the obtaining network equipment for this project at a cost of $24,587.75.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't know if I have to make motions on these other things right now, do I?
So I would just say, I think along Greg's line was to, if we can leave that furniture up there and it's good enough for the judge, leave it there and get something different.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to move stuff.
Yeah, well, it breaks when you move it, a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. So if that's not good enough for them, then perhaps they can go somewhere else and find stuff. Okay, so,
I mean, it's the same way, if we move the stuff out of the auditor's office too, then we're gonna have to turn around and purchase more stuff
We
for,
got some milk crates down storage for him.
okay.
Sorry,
I
Mark,
agree.
I'm just teasing, okay? I'm trying to have fun here. It's not,
And
Okay.
I've asked Jessica to work with both
That
departments,
dirty lunch was for fun.
so then maybe she'll bring the proposal back to you guys as far as that
okay.
goes.
And I do want to go on record of thanking the treasurer and the auditor for being very acceptance of moving out of this building and out of this courthouse across the street for the good of the county. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes.
appreciate it.
Have a donut when you leave. Two donuts.
No, the bigger plan later.
Is there anything else that I have missed on? And we should put it on the agenda for next week, an update on the move, because that move will be taking place as we speak next Tuesday, I guess.
Brian, question, how long is it gonna take them to get that up and running over there?
Well, I talked to Brightspeed about that because we're also in the process of working on 319 Adams Street and getting that going as well. And they seem to think that the infrastructure is already in place, so it'd just be a matter of getting the tech in there to install the RAD, so.
I just didn't wanna move somebody over there and them not to have phone or anything to,
Well, I mean,
Right
I
back into it.
I can do a workaround till I can put something more permanent in place. So I already kinda got that strategized.
Over on the cord from the jail.
No, it's tin can and
Tin
strings,
cans and-
right?
yeah.
cut and string.
Okay.
Okay.
There's the lease.
Could I add, yeah, Eric Peters, treasurer needs to move, I guess, immediately because the new judge will be coming. I've asked to wait till like early November to move, so I can get my budget stuff pretty well done before that disruption, so, I know, Harry, you said that was fine with
That's
you,
fine.
so.
Do you think we can get like a group rate on a moving service that we could all just use for the next couple months?
Throw it in
How
with
much
your move.
furniture can you get in the back of an ambulance?
They can get a lot of toys in them.
Right, exactly. That's a good point.
So you have the tow truck hauling the ambulance with the furniture on it? Is that what you're? I'm glad we can laugh about this.
I have two.
So we gotta get pictures of ourselves and put over there too in their offices, right? So-
We're gonna get a plaque over there.
All right, Sam, you better run for we
Okay.
really get down into right now.
Okay, unfinished business, capital improvements, sales tax, additional revenue discussion.
So we discussed this at length last week and explained where we're sitting with the sales tax revenues coming in. We've seen a sizable increase over what we had budgeted when we began to start talking about the sales tax. County Commission approved the funds allocation, and that's published and for the citizens to look at and vote on. And so we're seeing the money come in quite a bit higher than what was originally planned, primarily due to being very conservative with estimates because we were right in the middle of COVID. So over the life of the 5-year sales tax, we're expecting about a 20% increase in revenues. So to account for that, we wanted to get these monies put into different categories now rather than wait till the end, so we can go ahead and get some of these projects underway and get some of the funds expended. Some primary things where we're seeing some increases are overlays and our concrete street repairs. Those are, of course, with inflation, are a lot higher than anticipated, and we're trying to do as much as we can with the money we got. Gravel road upgrades, those our estimates are coming in a lot higher based on our most recent gravel road upgrade that we did. Expenses are a lot higher. Most of what these extra funds will go towards is to cover some inflation that we're seeing, but there's other things as well. So out of the original funds allocation, some revisions, and those are shown in the sheet, highlighted in yellow. So we would take the upgrade roads to paved from 3 million to 6.5 million. I'll skip the projects in cooperation with villages, come back to that. In resurfacing, we'll take that from 8.75 million to 10 million, so that's an increase of 250,000 a year. And we're already tracking that much right now, based on our needs for our payments. Equipment replacement will bump that up from 2 million to 2,230,000. Leave the contingency the same, and then as we discussed last week, some additions in the county facility equipment improvements will take all the extra monies and put that into the contingency. So take that from 550,000 to 1,570,000. I'll go back to projects in cooperation with the villages. I did send them an email last week explaining that the county commission would be voting or taking the recommendation that we presented last week and hopefully voting on that today to increase the amount of money going to the villages from 1.7 million to 2.5 million. So that's an increase of $800,000. And in our last Road and Bridge Advisory Board, they recommended that if the county commission, they recommended the county commission approve the funds reallocation, the additional funds allocation. But if they proceed with that, the split out of funding to go to the villages, they recommended it be on a 50-50 split of population and road mileage. And so the second sheet that I provided to you shows what that split out would be. The highest amount of money would be $194,592 going to Wardsville. And based on, again, population and road mileage, Lowman, I believe, would be on the lower end at $31,748. So, and it just starts at the top and goes down. And I think the split out's very fair and reasonable, and it kind of fits with what we see in working with the villages, especially with their pavement overlays that we assist them with. Matt does primarily all their work and puts it into his bid package when he puts that out with the chip seals and the overlays. It tracks along with what their needs are probably gonna be additional to help take care of their payment. So I know Jan's here, and just in working with Russellville, you spent your whole amount of $100,000 that you get every 5-year period in the first year. So,
Yes.
And there's still more needs out there.
There's still a lot of need.
So I think the split out's very, very reasonable and fair, and it'll definitely go to some good use in the small communities because they all need to help, need to keep maintaining their pavements. I think they do as good a job as they can. We assist them as we can, let them make their decisions, and we help, do the bidding for them. Saves them some effort there. So, any questions that y'all have? So if you're in agreement, I think we want to vote to accept the recommendation and approve the allocation of the additional funds in the sales tax, the 2022 to 2026 capital improvement sales tax program.
Good. I'll make a motion to approve the capital improvement sales tax additional revenue proposal as presented.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Can I add one more thing? So we will notify for sure the communities that this is happening, and they will have to have all these additional funds and any funds that they still have spent by the end of the sales tax period. We want to completely eliminate or use all those funds up and go into the new sales tax period with a clean slate.
You can do that, right, Jan? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other issues to come before us before we go into closed session?
This, is there AED? Do we,
Oh, we tabled that till October 1st, I'm sorry.
okay.
He didn't have the
That
bids
you-
together
yeah, you
yet or
didn't
the
have
pricing,
bids.
so.
I'm sorry, yes, that's been tabled to October.
Okay.
I would entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Pursuant to Section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri, the commission will go into closed session to discuss the following. Personnel issues under 610.021 subsection 13.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sam,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.